Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today in this video, I thought that I would go over every book I own that I currently haven't read. I am soon going to have to pack up all of my books because I am moving from Pennsylvania to Florida. And faced with that daunting task, I've been wondering how many of these books that I own have I actually read? And how many have been sitting on my shelf for years? So I thought I would take you guys with me as I go through my shelves, and if any of these books on my TBR are books that you have read and you think that I really like them, or maybe that they are not so great, let me know. I also have a couple books of mine at my dad's house, so I'm going to have to, when I get to his house, film another little clip counting those, and then at the end of this video, I will tally up all of the unread books I own. I'm worried it's going to be a really high number. Like, if it's over 35, 30 to 35, I'm gonna be overwhelmed because that's a lot of books. And I told myself I'm not going to buy any more until I read some of the ones that I already own because it's really not good to let books sit on your shelves for years unread. So we're going to start with this shelf, which starts off with all my young adult contemporaries and just the adult contemporaries, which a lot of these I read in middle school, so I've read most of them already, but there are a couple here, especially when we transition into mysteries and thrillers, that I haven't read. First, Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is one that I started and then DNF'd. I loved The Fault in Our Stars and I love John Green as a person, but I honestly thought this book was kind of boring. Maybe I'll give it another shot. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This was one of my 5-star predictions, so I'm definitely hoping to get to this one soon. Burn for Burn and its sequel, Fire with Fire by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian. These were actually my stepsister's books, which she left here, so now they are on my bookshelf. I'm not opposed to reading them though. To my understanding, this is a revenge story, and I don't know about you guys, but I love a good revenge story. Even in Paradise by Chelsea Philpott. Trust Me, I'm Trouble by Mary Elizabeth Summer. This is the sequel to a book called Trust Me, I'm Lying, which I did read, but now I don't know if I'm going to read the sequel because it's been so long since I read the first one that I would have to reread it to remember the plot. The Girl in the Picture by Alexandra Monnier. And Vanished by E.E. Cooper. On the next shelf we have Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl. The Darkest Corners by Kara Thomas. The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. Yes, I did a horrible job ripping the Target sticker off this book. I know, it bothers me. The Safest Lies by Megan Miranda. The Assassin Game by Kirsty McKay. Dead Girls Don't Lie by Jennifer Shaw Wolf. This is one that I actually thought about getting rid of because I bought it when I was like 14 and it looks really cheesy to me now, but it actually has a pretty high Goodreads rating, so I don't know, maybe I'll keep it for now, but I have no burning desire to pick it up anytime soon. Cut Me Free by J.R. Johansson. And The Vanishing Game by Kate K. Myers. This is another one that I started and then DNF'd, but I don't remember why. It was so long ago. Maybe I'll give it another shot, but I don't know. Had to move my Funko Pop of Ghost over to start getting into my fantasy picks. The first up is The Sisters of the Winter Wood by Rena Rosner. The Queens of Innis Lear by Tessa Gratton. Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. An Ember in the Ashes by Zaba Tahir. Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. This is the sequel to Red Queen. I don't currently own the rest of the series. I gave Red Queen 3 stars, so I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the series. It depends on how I feel about Glass Sword. Okay, so with Harry Potter, I've only read the first 3, so the next one I need to read is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I do own the other books. Well, my parents own them, but they don't want them anymore, so I can have them. But they're not currently on my shelf. I guess I'll still count those in the total anyway, because they are on my TBR. I'm going to read the rest of the series. Oddly enough, currently at my house, we just have the first 4 books, plus also Deathly Hallows. I really don't know how my parents divided up the Harry Potter series in their divorce, but my mom just had like a couple, like book 4 and book 7, I think, and my dad had the rest. It was weird. The Plantagenets by Dan Jones. I did read Dan Jones' book on the War of the Roses. These are nonfiction histories, and I started the Plantagenets, but then I DNF'd it. I just wasn't in the mood for it at the time, and it kind of put me in a reading slump. I think I'll pick it up again sometime because I am interested in learning more about the Plantagenets. I just wasn't feeling it at the time I was reading it. A Tyranny of Petticoats, which is an anthology edited by Jessica Spotswood. The Lady of the Rivers by Philippa Gregory. I read Philippa Gregory's book, The Constant Princess, and absolutely hated it. Tune into my last wrap-up video on my channel if you want to see me try to read some of the lines from that book and crack up laughing, not able to say it with a straight face, but I might still give this one a shot. I bought it for only $2, so even if I end up hating it, like, it's not like I spent a lot of money on it or anything. Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I've read 2 other Agatha Christie's, and Then There Were None is one of my favorite books, so definitely want to get to this at some point. The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton, which I sort of read. I read it for a school project, but I ended up running out of time and I had to SparkNote like the last 100 pages or so. I'm really sorry. I read this in class from my favorite English teacher in high school. I hope he never sees this video and knows that I lied to him. I'm so sorry if you're seeing this. Like, Washington Square by Henry James. I did read Daisy Miller for the same project that I read The Age of Innocence for, or kind of read The Age of Innocence for, but I haven't read Washington Square, which is also in this bind-up. This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I love The Great Gatsby, so my dad bought me this book probably like 4 years ago, and he's so mad at me that I haven't read it yet, but I just haven't been in the mood for it, you know? Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. I actually won this book this semester in class. We played a Victorian novels trivia game and I won, so I got this book as a prize from my favorite professor so far at college. I don't know if I'm going to keep this edition though because it's used and it has writing in it, and I don't love the color with classic novels. Lately, I've been trying to find versions of classic novels that I think are pretty because there are so many different covers out there. So if I'm gonna have a classic on my shelf, I want it to be a really pretty edition. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. When I was younger, I had a Great Illustrated Classics version of this book, like a child's version, and it was my absolute favorite book, so I definitely need to read the full classic version at some point. It's just really long and intimidating, so I haven't gotten to it yet. Emma by Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book, and I love these editions. I actually bought this book at the City Lights bookstore in San Francisco. It's a pretty famous bookstore in the Beat movement, which I honestly don't know anything about, but it was a really cool bookstore when I went to visit it, and I got this book there. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I bought this when I was in middle school, probably about 13. And I tried to read it, but I think at the time I just wasn't old enough to understand it, so I DNF'd it. I definitely want to get back to it at some point, especially since I loved Jane Eyre, which is by another one of the Bronte sisters, and so I really do want to read this now. I've had it for so long and I haven't touched it since I was 13 or 14. My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Alex and Eliza by Melissa De La Cruz. Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. And last on my shelves at this house, The Sun and Splendor by Sharon K. Penman. And here at my dad's house, I have Persuasion by Jane Austen. Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovic. 3 Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. I'm not sure how to say her name because I've heard people call her Kendar Blake and people call her Kendara Blake on BookTube, so I'm not really sure. Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. And finally, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Okay guys, Well, we finally did it. Those are all the books I own that I haven't read. When I'm editing, I will insert the final number over here because I've lost count. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have read any of the books on my TBR, let me know. Did you enjoy them? Do you think I should get to them soon? Do you think that maybe I should just unhaul them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please like this video if you enjoyed and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, and I hope to see you in the next video.